Right then, welcome to this week's episode of NNL Football. There'll be something on the end of the video which will explain why we're both sort of laughing a bit at the moment.
So coming up this week, we're going to talk about Liverpool's win at Southampton, their step closer to the top four, City being just absolutely steamrollering Newcastle, and also the humiliation of Manchester United having the double done over them by Swansea. But first, this has been the biggest talking point of the whole weekend. Chelsea at home against Burnley. Jose Mourinho felt that 4 key decisions went against his side. Let's discuss it.
Well, first of all, if you look at the first Ashley Barnes challenge...
So this is the one on Ivanovic when they go up for the header?
Yes. It's a very bad challenge.
It is a very bad challenge. And in fairness, everyone said it could have been a yellow. I think it could have been a red. He does have his studs up.
I can see the contention for a red, but I personally feel it's more of a yellow.
I feel like it could be a red. It's definitely a yellow.
I think it'd be more harsh to give it red, but it's definitely deserving of yellow, and he's very lucky to have sort of got away in terms of, like, without, like, further
because he didn't even get booked through the course of the game, which, as we'll go on to explain, is incredible.
Yeah, incredible question. Well, while we're here, we'll stick with the other Ashley Barnes decision, other Ashley Barnes challenge to work away through the Burnley side,
which is the big talking point, and it's gone on. Is the fallout from the whole game?
Yeah, the tackle on Matic, which we watched again just before shooting this video, and we still can't believe it. We don't know how he stayed on the pitch. In fairness,
the thing I can't believe most. I understand if the referee hasn't seen it, you can question whether he should see it, whether the linesman on the near side should see it.
I think it's more of a case for the linesman rather than the referee. I feel like the referee's position wasn't fantastic for seeing it. It is sort of like a slightly obscure challenge in terms of you have to be at the right angle to fully see the impact.
And again, it probably brings into question whether there should be sort of video replays, which is another debate. But the one thing, if the referee doesn't see it, okay, go back and take retrospective action, which they haven't done. They're not going to take any action against him.
Which I cannot believe, personally.
And I've been saying this for at least 2 years now, because I don't know if you remember the McManaman tackle?
Yeah, I remember the McManaman.
I couldn't believe that they didn't punish that afterwards, and it's the same here. I mean, that is a cringy
I think possibly this one is worse.
It's on the shin.
Yeah, like his leg is up. You can see his leg bend. We watched it back, and I still can't believe that nothing was done about it. I can fully appreciate Matt's reaction. I can fully appreciate his reaction.
It's the wrong way to react, but I probably would do the same.
Yeah, I think anyway, if someone nearly just broke your leg and went in with a risky challenge,
I do the same in an amateur game. That's Matic's livelihood. That's his money. That's his career. That's his job.
That's like a decent 6 month or so out absence injury. If that has broken his leg,
and potentially, if he reacts badly to it, that's the end of his career.
Yes, and
he's what, 25?
Yes, and it's very unfortunate that Matic's reaction has kind of overshadowed the original tackle.
I mean, he should get banned.
Yes,
because you cannot react.
No, you can't.
But at the same time, I think the FA have realised that they've taken the ban down to just 2 games instead of the usual 3 for a straight red card. And actually, for violent conduct, it quite often gets bumped up to 4. So I think they've recognised that that's pretty much the most severe provocation of football.
It was kind of like one without the other, really. If Vanish wouldn't have done that, if it had not been the severity of Barnes' challenge, so I feel like it wasn't necessarily completely Matic's fault.
The only thing I can say at all that criticises Matic and indeed Ivanovic in this is, which I said to you before, both players stop, go down, cry out in pain, roll a couple of times, and then when they realise their whistle hasn't gone, they get straight up and run over.
Yeah,
I think the players need to react differently to things. We talked about this with a couple of the penalty incidents.
Yeah,
where actually the player's reaction to an incident has possibly stopped the referee from making a decision.
Yeah, I feel like it's similar when you had Suarez and Bale in the Premier League. And your reputation begins to supersede you. Like, if Bale goes down, he often got a booking because even if it was a unfair challenge, because of his reputation, and because we see it so often now, players rolling around. It's hard for a referee to spot a genuine injury.
And no doubt, Matic
I could appreciate,
definitely in pain. Ivanovic was worse because he rolled 3 or 4 times, cried out in pain, and then he was straight up and running over. And that's not the way to react.
Matic was straight up because he wanted to kick the shit out of Barnes. That was the difference. But still, moving on now to quickly
the penalty incidents.
penalty instance. Burnley had more of a case, I feel, than Chelsea.
Well, I don't know. I think the first handball from Burnley, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
His arm's out here. It's out here. It's not a natural position for the ball to be in. The ball, I mean, we're not sure if it's going on target or not. It's going close. That's a penalty. The second one,
that's the one I have a question with.
Costa does. I mean, there's a slight hand, but that's like me doing that. He goes over way too easily for me. That's not a penalty.
Yeah, that was. It reminded me again of.
And he does this, Costa.
Yes.
For a big, strong centre forward.
You don't expect to get muscled that easy.
Yeah, he should just get in physical.
And something to quickly mention it and bring up another game for this weekend, which I thought was very good. The Spurs West Ham game. Kane's penalty for me looked a little bit soft towards the end. I think it's a very unfortunate situation. So I feel like there's been sort of a weekend of controversy with these sort of arrangements. But Burnley's case for penalty, I feel, they had a very strong argument with Felipe Luis.
I do as well.
Hands sort of stuck out like that, sort of flat out.
It prevents Ings from controlling the ball. Is the thing that I'd note about it. In the box, the ball drops towards Ings. He's looking to control it about 6 or 7 yards out, and possibly put Burnley back on terms. And it's his arm.
Yeah,
that's a penalty for me.
Yeah, completely. I feel now that with Mourinho's comments about campaigning against Chelsea, we were having this conversation.
This is the other thing.
I don't feel this is the case. I think Mourinho's just taking shots rather than admit his players' mistakes.
I think it's really not on. And you see Chelsea fans even, come out and they're all agreeing with him. Oh, it's a campaign. There's no campaign, okay? A lot of decisions have gone against Chelsea, even I can admit that. They have been unlucky with the decisions.
Every team
it's not a campaign.
Every team has decisions like that. Every team has decisions that don't go their way.
And every team's fans feel like there's a specific campaign against them. You know, like whenever I go and watch Oxford, it seems like every time I go, the referee just misses the most obvious things. Although I have to say, admittedly, I have once seen a referee miss someone get grabbed by their throat and thrown to the floor.
Yeah, it happens. I'm watching, there's been a debate now for about the past season or so about the standard of referees in the Premier League.
It's an ever-going debate, but I do feel like the best league in the world should have the best referees in the world.
Yeah, and unfortunately we seem to be lacking that at the moment.
Yes.
But also, quick before we move on to Chelsea, one more thing we do want to say. Having seen the incidents in Paris...
It's not on. It's really not on.
Completely, obviously, ridiculous.
And there's more, it just keeps getting worse for them, and you know, Chelsea come out and said it's nothing to do with them, which I fully accept. I think you can't ever control the fans that represent your club. But it's just not on. I
think Rio Ferdinand put it best. They've given life bans to 2 racists. They've given a 1-year contract extension to another one. Moving on.
Rio Ferdinand can get away with saying that.
Yes, he can.
Sort of.
And his brother was the one who was accused.
Accused?
I mean, abused. Abused. Got the right terms there. Moving on to Manchester United's crumble at the weekend at the hands of Swansea. The first time they recorded a double over Manchester United in their history.
I'm beaming.
I'm not.
I'm absolutely
We had this conversation last week, and I don't want to keep repeating the same arguments over and over and over and over again, but I feel like from an outsider, with a lot of Man United fans, we could fix it. We feel like we could go in and fix the solutions and see where we're going wrong, but Van Gaal can't quite seem to agree with that.
He doesn't seem to have, like with Moyes.
Yes.
There was always a feeling that he wasn't going to be good enough. When Van Gaal came in, everyone seemed to sort of feel, okay, this is going to fix it. And true, you're currently in the top 4.
Just. Liverpool, Southampton, and Arsenal, and Arsenal are now above us
as well.
Arsenal are now above us, and they are. This is now.
It's so incredibly close.
End of December, mid-December, I was confident. I was like, we're secure. We had a decent 5-point gap. We had a chance to close in on City and Chelsea, and I feel like our form over Christmas has now let us down, and we are back in this position.
I don't feel that Van Gaal is a good enough manager to manage a club the size of Manchester United.
He has managed Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and
I know, but he didn't last very long in those jobs. He didn't win a tremendous amount in those jobs.
But I think right now, who can Man United get who is better, who is available,
Why not
and who has experience?
Throw money at Jurgen Klopp? Why not do that? Because his record stands with him, even after the season they have had. You can't really fault Jurgen Klopp's record, especially in his first sort of major managerial role.
When Ferguson went, Klopp was one of the main ones I wanted. He was one of the 3 I thought.
I can't understand why Man United haven't gone out and given everything to try and get him, personally. Even possibly given more to try and get Mourinho. I know Ferguson didn't like Mourinho, and maybe that's what what influenced Man United not
No,
letting him?
I think Mourinho, they do have Mourinho and Ferguson's relationship is a bit strange. It's more like competitive on the pitch, but off the pitch they've very much got a lot of mutual respect for each other.
You know, like you say, like Ferguson specifically recommended Moyes, and I think that influenced the decision. Why not just go out and try and get a world-class manager?
But I feel like right now, what Man United need, especially after Moyes and Ferguson, is a sense of a short, especially right now, because Moyes was the long-term plan. Long-term plan didn't work, so we need something, a quick fix to get us back in the Champions League and bring some sort of status back to the club, and which is what Van Gaal's meant to do. And he's not quite completely lived up to the responsibility yet, but I feel confident that he can.
Okay, so we're going to ask a snap judgment now. Do you reckon Man U will get the top 4 at the end of the season?
It's dependent on my mind in 3 things. 1, us winning our vital games, obviously us winning vital games around that area. 2, making sure injuries are not as persistent as they were earlier in the season. And 3, sorting out a formation.
So do you think they'll get there?
If we can get all 3 of those things and go in our favour, I reckon we can just... It's going to be like... Do you remember like a few seasons ago when Arsenal were like celebrating the last minute getting top 4?
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be one of those things. I reckon it's going to go down to the wire, but I reckon Man United will scrape it just.
In there with who? Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Southampton?
Spurs I feel will drop off. Southampton I feel will do the same. I reckon that's third I reckon will go to Arsenal. And I think it'll be between Man United and Liverpool for that 4th and final spot.
I remember the days when that was the shootout for the first.
Yeah.
Sad times.
Yeah. Both of us really.
Where do these fucking clubs with money come from and stolen our spots?
Yeah, damn it. Unfortunately, this is of course now the point when we watched this video like a few months back, it turns out both Liverpool and United like were nowhere near, or like we both easily made it and someone else got out. I don't know. But moving on now, we have to talk about Southampton versus Liverpool and Liverpool's resurgence.
Such a great result. I think we've won. Out of our last 9 games, that's a possible 27 points. We've won 7 and drawn 2, so that's 23 out of 27.
It's a record of more like the Liverpool of old.
I think
from last season.
Yeah, we're now the form team in the Premiership. I want to say we've
You are
got
right
the
now.
longest unbeaten run
You are
in
right
the
now in the
Premiership. We haven't. I think we've lost 1 in our last 16.
Yes.
He's fixed it basically. This was a massive. This was like the make or break point of his Liverpool career, really, and he changed the tactics and fixed it, which is, I'm really happy. When we got Rodgers, I was really excited. He's a young manager, had fresh ideas. He struggled at first, and after last season, I thought his job was safe. He struggled, but at no point have I ever wanted him to be fired.
I feel like as well, you've now got over the Suarez gap.
Yeah,
the Suarez void played a big part in that first sort of 6
He
few
changed
months.
the shape to allow us to have the pace in the team that we were lacking, and he's done that by adding to the number of sort of attacking players that we have.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Ironically, I suppose, maybe not ironically, but as opposed to Manchester United, who keep trying this 3 at the back system and having it fail, Liverpool have now adopted
the
it.
Players to make it work, I think.
And Liverpool have adopted a similar system, and they've managed to make it click. It seems to be working very well for them at the moment.
The problem for United is that they like to focus too much on the central midfield. In that shape, they like to move the ball about in those central 3, whereas Liverpool are just about getting the ball forward at pace, and then
which is
get
what,
like the players like Coutinho, Lallana, Sterling.
Which is again
on
with
the
the players Man United have is what they should be doing. But anyway, of course we don't want to deter too much from Man United. Southampton very unlucky not to get anything from the game. I thought they popped a very good fight. Yeah. It was a close game.
But in a way, this is sort of about
unfortunately penalty decision. I thought they could have had maybe on another day. Possibly decision go their way.
They can feel hard done by, but I think also this is a game about experienced players taking their chances.
And Coutinho took his.
In games like this, what a goal, by the way. What a goal.
Even on a minute.
Stop the goal of the season competition now, please. Just, it's over. Coutinho.
I'm not so sure. I have to wait and see.
What's been better?
What could be better? I mean, we've got another few months to go. You don't know what's going to come up.
But you know, I feel like Liverpool have these players in these games who have scored the goals and are just a bit sharper, taking chances when they need to. And we had 3 shots on goal and we scored twice.
Yeah, and again that all shows example of Southampton's defending and then Liverpool's clinical finishing. That's like
Southampton were wasteful during the game.
Unfortunately, of course, he got a frosty reception, of course, for Lambert. Not saying Lambert, Lallana and
Lallana's Lovren reaction was sort of mixed. They really weren't happy with Lovren.
No, Lovren's I think I couldn't quite. I think they were shouting, "You're just a shit, Jose Fonte." I couldn't quite make it out from the TV, but it sounded like that's what they were singing. And I thought,
Fair enough.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good.
It's not been great.
No.
Incidentally, Rodgers sort of changed the game a bit when we brought on Moreno,
Yeah,
who's
I think he's done alright.
his career started brilliantly. It stagnated a bit, but I think with the change in shape, it's really allowed him to flourish.
Yeah,
We are 10 points off second, which is still a lot of points.
yeah.
But for us to be where we are now,
Because as opposed to where you were,
in
because
say
you
October,
haven't lost since that Man United game back in December. So it's kind of like, and again, that wasn't you weren't really humiliated, but you were.
the scoreline flattered you.
Yeah.
In that game,
Even on in terms of when you look back on the game, it was
because again, this is about you taking your chances when you get them, and us not taking ours when we get them.
Which
It's sort of a reverse of the Southampton game.
Yes, pretty much. So of course now, opposite question to you: can Liverpool get top 4?
This is a big month for us.
Yes.
We've passed the first test, but it was the easiest one for us because our next game on the weekend is Manchester City.
Informed team at the moment.
They are.
They're currently 1-0 down to Barcelona at the point of us recording this.
They are. Before the weekend, I would have said we'd have a really good chance because they've been out of form. They've got Toure back, and they annihilated Newcastle, which we'll come on to in a moment.
In fairness, Newcastle not the best team in the world, obviously.
No.
But the
I
confidence
feel like in
is
the
back.
form we're in, with Sturridge back, Balotelli almost even looking like he might score goals, as he has done in two of our last 3 games. Confidence is way up. This is the best time all season we could have had Manchester City.
Yeah.
It's at home. Why not? I think we can win that one. The big test for me, actually, I think we're going to find more difficult is the game at the end of next month, which is Manchester United.
That is going to be, if it stays
That's
this tie,
a colossal game.
at Anfield as well.
We've got Swansea and someone else in between.
It's going to be a very close game. So you've heard my predictions for the top 4. To clarify now, so my prediction for the top 4 at the moment is Chelsea, City, Arsenal, United.
We'll come on to the top 2 in a second because we're going to have a debate about whether we reckon City can catch them. But third and fourth for me, close. I'm going to be optimistic. I think Arsenal are actually pretty well sorted for third.
Yeah.
For me personally,
I feel like form has checked.
Crystal Palace away was a difficult game. They won it 2-1. They looked comfortable until the very last minute when they actually conceded that goal.
Yeah.
So I think Arsenal will finish third. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say with the form we're in, we're on a good run. We always finish the season stronger. I'm going to say we can sneak into the top 4 with Manchester United to finish 5th. And Southampton to end up... No, Spurs to end up 6th.
You think Southampton are going to drop off below Spurs?
I think this is the point where they're finally starting to run out of steam, Southampton.
But Spurs, of course, have the infamous collapse at the end. But anyway,
that's very true. They do, but I feel like there's less at stake for them this season, so maybe they'll just sort of
less pressure.
Simmer.
Right. So finally, we'll come on to the utter annihilation of Newcastle at the hands of Manchester City. The Etihad.
Big win for them because earlier in the day Chelsea slipped up. That sort of puts the pressure on the chasing teams to say, okay, now you have to take advantage of that.
And they did
emphatically. I mean, with 3-0 up after 22 minutes
and we watched some of the goals.
It wasn't just the scoreline; it was the quality of the football. With Yaya Toure,
but
they are such a different prospect. Yes. They just control the ball.
But was it helped by the fact Newcastle was so poor?
Well, possibly, but I think other teams Newcastle aren't. I don't think Newcastle cover themselves in glory, but at the same time, City have those players that. If you give them the slightest bit of space, I think Silva is the best in the league at exploiting space.
What,
between the lines?
As that sort of like roaming sort of playmaker, like pop up anywhere.
He is the best in the league, and the second best in the league is probably Yaya Toure. So between those two,
Toure played a massive role. If you look at most of their goals,
everything goes through him.
Yeah, if you look at all their goals, it started initially with a Toure pass to someone.
It's the long pass, it's the short pass, it's the driving run. He controls their football.
He was a massive miss for them, obviously, in January, which we saw. With like defeats Arsenal.
It's like flipping a switch, though.
Yeah.
When he comes, it's incredible. Wilfried Bony didn't start.
No, but he came on and probably should have scored with the chance he was given.
Should, but I feel like he will start games and score goals. Maybe not in Europe.
No.
Against Barcelona. No. That's a different prospect.
Although if he now comes on and scores tonight.
I said maybe. That's why I said maybe.
Because at the point of this recording, we're still not 100% certain.
Yeah, they look like they're back to
Their best.
The first time this season they've looked like true champions.
Yeah, no, that's great. So now to round off the video, the debate whether or not do you think City can catch Chelsea?
If you asked me a week ago, I'd have said no. Everything changes like that in football. Chelsea to draw at home against Burnley, that's a poor result. City emphasised that they could capitalise in the best way possible. City can catch Chelsea.
But will they? That is the question.
I'm going to say it'll go right down to the wire. I'm going to say City would just about get there. I'd get to say they get there in the last 2 games.
So you're going to say City
to win the league.
City to win the league. Oh, very different to what we were all saying about 2 months ago.
Well, yeah, but Chelsea have really wobbled. And actually, if you remember, City got it back to even points in about 3 weeks.
True.
Earlier in the season. So.
I feel City. It'll be close. I don't feel like Chelsea will run away with it as we all predicted they would earlier in the season. I feel like
without Matic for
a few games.
He's out for the League Cup final, but he will miss the West Ham game, which isn't necessarily going to be a walkover for Chelsea.
No, West Ham proving a very good side at the moment. We will also do a League Cup sort of special.
Yes.
When we get a chance,
we'll probably watch the game live in the pub and try and take as much of it in as we can. Firmly supporting Tottenham.
Yeah, firmly supporting Tottenham on that day. I'll just start wearing a white kit.
Mostly just because I think Jose Mourinho's bitching doesn't deserve to win anything this season.
Just to quickly conclude my points on City, they can catch up. Don't think they'll win the league. I think Chelsea will still win the league, but it will go to like the last 3 games or so. I think it will be. I think not to the last day, but like it'll be take till April and May to get it back up.
Everyone could see from August that it was going to be these 2 teams because of the quality they've added.
Yeah.
I think in January again, both of them made the 2 big signings. Quadrado for Chelsea, who doesn't look bad.
No,
I think Willian is possibly still a better player personally.
But of course, Quadrado's got time to adapt now to the Premier League, and you feel like maybe in this case he will then start next season if he's still there and as a regular, stronger. All the more for it.
But I think the part of the reason that I feel City will do it, Aguero's back, Dzeko's back from injury, they've got Bonnet,
and Torre's back.
And I just feel like that pure power and the pace they have in that front line is terrifying. I mean, Silva's not the quickest, but he's so creative. Aguero's pacey. And relatively strong.
Yeah.
Bonnet's got the strength. Yaya Toure has a bit of everything.
Yeah.
They're just so punchy. I think they're gonna get there.
Right then, so we will call it a halt to the episode there. Thank you very much for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And we will be back with an episode for our predictions for this weekend. We will also be doing a League Cup special.
Yeah.
So
might end up being
a sort of combined episode, like an add-on to the.
Or we might do 2 separate ones. We're not quite sure.
Yeah, we're not quite sure. We're not 100%, but those will be up at some point this week.
On Twitter.
Yes.
And subscribe to us on YouTube. That would be great.
Yes, there'll be a link somewhere, possibly here. If not,
I'll put it on Sam's face.
Yes, just here in the quiff. Right. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye, my friends.
Copper 90. We'll roll that clip now.
Right then, welcome to this week's episode of Copper 90.
Yeah, that's going on the outtakes. That's how long it took you to realise.
What's wrong? Like job interview, pretty much. This is what this has become.
Thanks for coming. We'll call you.
Yeah, you ain't got the job now, I'll be right. It seriously looks fucking weird of us both in red, right? Take 2. Yeah, that's useful if you get your own like production name right, isn't it? Usually when you get off a first bat.
It was just the way you were like. I thought you were joking at first because you were just like.
Right.
When's he gonna realise?
Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye.
Bye.